Okay, one last video to round out the two that I've already done, talking about like who we are and how all this is going to work under the hood. Current thinking, of course, things can change as we grow and we have more people in the DAO that have different opinions. But there are a few things that I forgot to talk about in my last video. This one won't be as long as that one, and I intend to get better at these and to make more videos talking about who we are in more concise ways. And I know that these videos are long and kind of rambly and lack structure, and yeah, sorry about that, but at least I'd like to be able to get all these ideas out in video form so people that are really interested can have a second way to learn about this other than reading through the green paper and just talking to us on Discord. So with this video, I wanted to talk about the Pay It Forward wallet and the process for coming to the land, and also like a small idea I had that might make it more attractive for people to hold the intent token, which would drive value to it and therefore the project. All right, so the Pay It Forward wallet, this will be a wallet that consists of 10% of all funds that we ever raise ever. And the only thing that we can use this wallet for would be to buy NFTs of other projects that spin up that are similar to ours. So if there's another project that that spins up that has NFTs that they're selling in order to raise funds and also grant access to the land, we will buy those NFTs with our Pay It Forward treasury. How many NFTs will depend on our particular DAO and the DAO members and their particular situations. You know, if we have, I don't know, if there are like 20 people in IntentionalDAO that love traveling the world sort of as a nomad and would love to be able to like hopscotch these different projects and stay in different places for a few months at a time or whatever, if there are 20 of those people, then maybe like the next DAO that spins up, maybe we decide we want to buy 5 NFTs from them. Okay. Those NFTs will be locked forever for our DAO, so that we would not ever be able to sell those because that would defeat the whole purpose. You know, if we can't spend the Pay It Forward treasury on anything but NFTs, and we're just able to buy the NFTs and directly sell them again on the open market, then it's just like money laundering. I mean, what's the point? So we buy the NFTs, they're locked forever, and they can only be used by DAO members, and each DAO can decide what the requirements are for a member to be able to use them. You know, maybe like if we have 4 levels of like membership, maybe only levels 3 and 4 get to use them or whatever, you know, and that's just another carrot to get people to participate more in the DAO and you know, gain those levels and be able to travel around. What this also does is it connects the DAOs to one another more tightly, because what you end up having is members of different DAOs that have access to travel to the intentional communities of the sister DAOs. And while they're there, you know, they may decide to pitch in and help out with some projects that are going on and earn some of the tokens from those other DAOs. So now you have members of DAOs that have exposure to the tokens of the other DAOs and are therefore like starting to align their incentives with each other. So it just strengthens the network of all of these different sister communities. So then, just to give a brief example of how this snowball effect would work, let's say we have us, and let's say IntentionalDAO raises $300,000 from selling our NFTs. That means we'll have $30,000 in the Pay It Forward wallet from the get-go. We decide 5 NFTs would probably be good for us. So we buy 5 NFTs off the bat from the new project at $500 a piece. And I'll talk about why $500 in a little bit. So that's 5 NFTs at $500, that's $2,500 off the bat that the new project has that we didn't have. So they already have like a little bit of bootstrapping money, which is valuable in the beginning because there are things that we've had to pay for out of our own pockets, like domain name. We got an ENS domain. I don't know shit about designing websites, so I had to buy like a Wix subscription. Different things like that. So $2,500 would help. Now let's say a third project spins up, and we and the second project both want to buy 5 NFTs from them. Now they have $5,000 to spin up with. And each time a new project starts, you have more projects that are sitting there with pay it forward treasuries waiting to buy NFTs to help these projects spin up. Now, once we have 30 projects spun up, it's not, I don't think, unfathomable to think that a new project would automatically have $60,000, $100,000 just sitting there waiting on them. Of course, it's not going to grow forever, because at a certain point, like us being the first DAO, our pay it forward treasury is going to start shrinking, and we're going to have to be more selective on how many NFTs we buy from whom. But the cool thing is that the new projects that spin up are also going to want this same type of like reciprocal land visitation privileges. So they're going to start buying NFTs from us. And so it's like we pay it forward now, but then later on in the life of our project, our big NFT sale drive is probably going to be in the beginning. And then after that, we'll have like probably 5 or 10% royalties paid on people that sell the NFTs. There are ways to get around that, so who knows how long that's going to last. And then we'll have the intent token that we will sell if the price rises above $2 or $3 or whatever we set that at. So it'll be nice to have an extra income stream. And the more of these to spin up, the more of them that would want to buy our NFTs. And obviously, the more attractive we can make ourselves, the more NFTs these other projects would want to buy too. So it just incentivizes us to be more welcoming and have more of a kick-ass community. So why $500 a piece? So the reason for that is, I guess it's just like kind of a low-key redistribution of the wealth, honestly, and just a way to, not just that, but also a way to enable everybody fair access to each other's projects. So some projects are going to be more expensive than others naturally, because let's say we have a project that spins up outside of San Francisco, and the people that are interested in buying NFTs and being a part of that group tend to have more money because the standard of living or the cost of living is higher there. And also they're going to have to raise more money because the land is more expensive there. So maybe they sell their NFTs for $2,000 a piece, whereas you have the opposite scenario for a project in maybe Panama, and they're selling their NFTs for $200 a piece. Well, if the Panama people want to buy San Francisco NFTs, then that eats up a big chunk of their pay it forward wallet. Whereas the San Francisco folks can like buy a whole lot of Panamanian NFTs, and so they have like buku access to the Panama community, whereas the opposite is clearly not the case. And so this enables the more wealthy projects to give a little bit more of a helping hand to the less wealthy projects, and also allows for a fair network where different community members have more equal access to the other projects in the world, no matter where they are. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to discuss was the process by which somebody would come to the land. Like, how would this work from like a user experience on the website type of thing? So you would first have to have the NFT, and I think you would have to event NFTs. You could just buy like the day of the event, but your Mycorrhiza fun guy, like hardcore NFTs, in order to use that for anything more than an event, you'd have to own it for a certain amount of time, probably 2 weeks, maybe. The reason for this is to get around the possibility of somebody renting out their NFTs to people that want to come. It's like, oh, you want to go for a week to this land? You'd have to buy an NFT, either on the open market or from IntentionalDAO itself. that's going to cost you $400 or $500 or whatever. I'll just rent you this for $20. And thereby the renter is like making $20, and the DAO is making nothing, and the people are coming to the property of the DAO. So like, that's why we originally were thinking soulbound NFTs, but of course, soulbound NFTs is not ideal because people, we want some people to buy the NFTs based on speculation. That'd be great. You know, if they think the price is going to go up in the future, then they can buy a bunch in the beginning. We could have all this money to buy the land, and if the price goes up, then they can sell them, and maybe we can get some royalties off that. Like, that's all fine and dandy, and like, that's part of like being a regen project. You know, we want to tap into like the degenerate speculative nature of people that are in crypto, in order to focus that money into doing the right things, as opposed to just like making people rich or wrecking people out of all their money. So you have an NFT. You have to have a decentralized ID, which is something like Bright ID or Proof of Humanity or Gitcoin Passport. So this is something that it's an ID that's not tied to any of your government issued information. So you can get one of these IDs without having to give your actual name, your address, your social security number, which is nice on like an idealistic type of level, in my opinion, because you can be who you want to be, and you don't have to be like the person that the government has told you you were since the day you were born. And then also, just from a pragmatic standpoint, like, we're a DAO, we're not a company. We're not going to have an HR department that's beholden to like the laws of any specific country, that's going to have to keep track of all these things and not leak them to the public or to the wrong people under threat of lawsuits or whatever. We're just not going to have that, and we don't want that. So decentralized identity, what it does is it gives you an ID, and it makes it very difficult for you to spin up a second one. So if you come to the land and you happen to be like a horrible, like, belligerent drunk that's harassing people and breaking things and getting into fights, and I mean, just, there's some people that we're gonna want to be able to ban. And if we don't know who anybody is, how are we gonna ban somebody, right? But if they have this ID, then that gives us a way. And so you have your NFT, you connect your decentralized ID to it, which includes your picture. So you would go to like the website, connect your crypto wallet. It sees that you have the NFT and that you've had it for at least 2 weeks. You've already attached your ID to it, which is what you'd have to do in order to probably become a level 2 role. So we'd have that baked into the process. And then you would stake a minimum of $5 in stablecoins and 50 intent tokens, 30 of which would be for the collateral. I talked about this some in the last video. 20 of it would be the payment required per day to be on the land. Now, you would click like coming to the land, okay? And that would lock those $5 and those 50 intent tokens up. Now, if you keep it locked up for 8 hours, like, you have to have it to come to the land, okay? And then your ID goes onto a website that all the people on the land have access to. So they can pull up that website and see who has access to the land. And if you're on the land and you're acting like suspect, and a DAO member like sees you and they're like, I wonder if they're actually even part of the DAO or if they're allowed to be here, they can pull up that website and see like a list of the pictures of the people that currently have access. So if you're not on there, then it's like, this guy doesn't belong. We need to kick him off the land or whatever. So after 8 hours, those $5 and 50 intent will be locked. After 24 hours, the $5 dollars of stable coins go to the resident multi-sig. That's, remember, for toilet paper and incidentals and wear and tear. The 20 and 10 token will be burned. Now a resident can come and forgive those at any time during those 24 hours. So if they have a chore list, then you'll go do a chore and they'll forgive the 20 and 10 tokens. And then the 30 intent for your collateral just stays there, because that's just a deposit to make sure that when you leave, you left everything fine. So if a resident forgives those 20 and 10 tokens, your stay was just basically $5 a day, and you can stay as long as you want for $5 a day. I'll just mention here, a level 4 would not have to pay the 20 and 10 tokens. That's one of the perks of being like a level 4 in your roles. Now, when you leave, 24 hours after you click no longer on the land, those 30 and 10 tokens get unlocked, unless a resident comes and commandeers those. So if you left a mess that somebody has to clean up, then a resident can commandeer those 30 and 10 tokens and clean up your mess for you, or just like farm it out to another visitor that's on the land and give it to them, or whatever they want to do. So I guess that's the general process. So just yeah, I'll just leave it at that. So don't make this video too long. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention was this other idea that I had. So in order to tap into this, in order to like align the incentives of people that are investing in our project and the good that the project is doing, the NFTs is one way. So like if somebody buys an NFT, then they could, maybe hope that the NFT would accrue value over time and they'd be able to sell it for a profit. That's maybe how we would get some money early on, obviously. But then as far as the intent tokens, so far the way we have it is that the token could increase in value up to $3, at which point, or $2, whatever we decide, at which point the coin machine would kick in and people could just like arbitrage the difference between $3 and whatever the value would be away, so that the value of the token is never above $3. That way, when the tokens accrue value, all that value ends up going back to the project instead of the people that hold the tokens. The one bad thing about that is it provides weak incentives for people to want to hold our token. And the more people want to hold the token, the more value the token will accrue, which means the more likely the value will increase above the $3. That would then entice people to buy it from the coin machine, which adds money to our treasury. So what if we split the difference between the token holders and the DAO? So if you're holding tokens and the value of the token increases above $3 and somebody buys it, that $3 is split between the DAO and everybody that's holding tokens. So if one token is bought, I don't know if we want to do 50-50, but like $1.50 will go to the DAO treasury, and $1.50 will be split among all the people that hold tokens, based on how, like, what percentage of the total outstanding tokens exist. Does that make sense? And this will be paid in like stable coins or ETH if we decide to end up selling our token for ETH, but it would not be issued in intent tokens and therefore would not come with a reputation. This would just be like an added sort of yield to people, sort of a reward for holding onto our tokens and therefore putting upward pressure on the price for us. Okay, that's enough for now. Thank you if you've made it this far. And if you have, I would love to hear your thoughts on all this and answer any questions that you have, and talk to you on the Discord.